A warm Lonoke County welcome to Princella.
Thank you very much. I'm very glad to be here. 10 minutes. Thank you. Whoever said that. Now I got to cut everything down to 5 minutes. You know that's hard for a politician. I do hail from the great city of Wynne, Arkansas, where my mother's an educator. Now she's a vice principal. Spent many years as an English teacher. My father's a minister, a member of the Economic Development Board there. I am the granddaughter of a hardworking farmer of a third-grade education, but one of the smartest people we ever want to know. He passed down in that Smith blood the principles of hard work and discipline. I've come from many generations of Smiths and Fondrens who were farmers, tillers of the land in the Delta in Wynne, Arkansas. That's a little bit about my background. I want to tell you briefly about my professional background. I know we don't have a lot of time. My website is princellasmith.com if you want to learn more about me. But in politics, I think some of you have heard that Dave Ellswick endorsed me this week, and we're very proud and honored to have that endorsement here in Lonoke County. And a lot of the, I guess, glitz and glamour of such is Princella worked for Newt Gingrich. Princella did 208 hits on national television. Well, that was all great and fantastic, but my start in politics came from Arkansas, from Wynne, Arkansas, the women's chapter of the American Legion Auxiliary. Wynne, Arkansas, that is where I got my start in politics. They sponsored me to go to Girls State. I was elected governor of over 900 girls as a young teenage whippersnapper. There I met Lieutenant Governor Wynne Rockefeller, actually met Governor Huckabee, found out he already knew my family. But they both gave me my shot in politics. I like to tell this story because it's true of the opportunity that I believe lies within the Republican Party and within Arkansas. Wynne Rockefeller gave me a first internship, young scraggly kid from the Delta that he could have ignored like many other people did. Gave me an opportunity. One day specifically, I remember his chief of staff came in and everything was going a little nuts and crazy. And he said, we need a speech. Go! And I'm 17 and I'm going, you gotta be kidding me, and shaking like this. And they said, we need a speech. So Governor Rockefeller was supposed to give a keynote speech at Southern Arkansas University. Ended up being my rival. I played basketball at Washington University. But he gave a speech, or he said he needed a speech, and he said, write one. So I wrote one. I had no idea what it was going to look like or sound like or anything. Do you know that that 17-year-old kid from the Delta sat there and watched Wynne Rockefeller read my speech verbatim? Do you know what that does to a poor kid from the Delta, the granddaughter of a farmer with a third-grade education, with nothing? I certainly was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth. To watch your world-famous billionaire lieutenant governor read your speech verbatim, that's the kind of opportunity that is in the Republican Party. That is why I'm so proud to be from Arkansas. I'm a proud Republican. Yes, I get hit for being young and not, I guess, the caricature of what the media would like to tell you a Republican is. But I always like to tell that story. That is, I am from Arkansas. That is my background. I'm very proud of it. I want to tell you a little bit about why I'm running. I'm running because Washington is broken, okay? Washington, there has been an overwhelming swell of outrage against Washington. Let me tell you what happened. Now, as you know, this job, the most unfun part of this job is raising money. It's just the truth. It's unfortunate, but you just can't win without the resources. Okay, so you got to raise money. I went to an old school Democrat. This man's like 80, got to be 80 now. He's known me for a little while, I guess since I was a kid. Never gives any time of day to Republicans. I mean, you know this district, right? A lot of old school, I'm a Democrat, my daddy was a Democrat, my mom was, they just don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. They say we wouldn't vote for a Republican if they were a yellow dog. I'm a yellow dog Democrat. That's what we got in Northeast Arkansas. Do you know that just this week we had a meeting with one of those yellow dog Democrats who said, Princella, I'm just so tired of Nancy Pelosi and Henry Waxman and these people who say they represent me. These people say they represent my party. This is not what I signed up for when I paid taxes. And do you know, not only did we get that man's endorsement, He said, I will vote for you in a Republican primary, and donated me $1,000. This is you can clap. This is a old school Democrat, and said, I will vote for you in a Republican primary. And why not tell that story? Because guess what? That's the feeling all across this country. You know what? One of the things that people say is a vice, I don't think it is that I went to Washington, D.C. I did go to Washington, D.C. You know what? I came back. I went to Washington, D.C. for about 3.5 years. I kept my voter registration in Northeast Arkansas. I never really took root anywhere in the area. But yes, I did. And I will tell you what I was doing in Washington, D.C. When the Tea Party started, guess what? Guess what? I want all y'all to have a comeback on the Tea Parties. Remember, the media said, oh, it's just a bunch of crazy Republicans that's mad that Obama won. Some of them even went so far in their journalism to say that the Tea Party started by a bunch of angry white racists. Excuse me, I'm watching my time. And they said it started by a bunch of angry white racists. That's what it is. They're mad because it's a black man elected president. I got news for you. I was there when the Tea Party started. I got news for you. I got one of the first invites to a Tea Party on Facebook. Watch your technology. It's awesome. I got one of the first invites to a Tea Party on Facebook. It was a group of people, fairly young, that started it when Bush was president. That's what y'all need to tell people. This did not start 5 minutes ago. The Tea Parties started when Bush was president, because guess what? In 2008, y'all remember everybody screaming about this jobs bill. Y'all remember the housing bailout that happened in the spring of 08? Y'all remember that? Didn't work out, did it? Remember the rush bailout they tried to do in the fall of 2008? Remember that? Well, we got to rush back to Washington. Oh, we can't debate. We got to pass this bill. We did that. Remember that? Didn't work out. Okay, now then remember they tried to push the stimulus bill in the top of 09. Y'all remember that? It didn't work out. But when the Tea Party started, they saw this coming a long time ago, before we even knew if Barack would be the nominee. So your comeback to all these people that say, all these people are just a bunch of crazy people railing against the system because they're mad, you say, you know what, you got one thing, you got two things right. We are railing against the system, and we are mad. But we aren't racist, and we aren't crazy. We're mad at D.C. We're sick of the system. And it's not just Democrats, it's Republicans. I went to Capitol Hill. Yes, I did. You'll read about me. She went to Capitol Hill, and she worked for Joseph Gall, and he was the only Republican that voted for the health care bill. You know what? I went to Capitol Hill. I did take that job with Joseph Gall, and it was before he voted for health care. And I want to explain this because you're going to read it, so I want to get in front of it. When I took that job with Joseph Gall, every job that I've ever taken in D.C. has been to make change. When I worked for Newt Gingrich, I was traveling the country. I didn't stay in D.C. I was traveling the country to talk about change. I was a mouthpiece for the Tea Parties. I spoke at the first Tea Party. I stood on the White House lawn and told the president, not in our backyard, rained on, 2 minutes, thank you. Rained on, makeup going like this. Me, Alan Keyes, Grover Norquist of Americans for Prosperity. Y'all know him? Or Minister for Tax Reform, excuse me. Y'all know him? We standing there in the rain and everything with the Tea Parties. People calling us crazy, some everything else. That's what I was doing in Washington, D.C. I was traveling the country. Now, back to Joseph Gall. When I took that job, he represents a district that is 64% African American. It's 75% Obama in 2008. They needed a communications director. I said, you know what? I would like nothing more than to be able to go in a district like that and communicate the conservative message. Do you know what kind of opportunity that is? Now, Mr. Gall disappointed me because he ended up voting for the health care bill. And so people say, well, you worked for him, and do a little research. Not only do I not support the health care bill, I have a complete plan on my website that'll tell you what I want to do as an alternative to that health care bill. Let me tell you something right now, everybody in this room, and I appreciate you for listening to my country accent. If you elect me to go to Congress, not only will I vote against pieces of legislation like that, not only will I rail against government regulation that's killing Arkansas small businesses, not only will I vote against cap and trade, I will present pieces of legislation to the contrary. We will change not only the 1st District of Arkansas, not only the Republican Party, but the country.